guys, this is Niyati Shah and you are watching Eduvent's Vocal for Local series, and today on the episode we have Srijay Sheth sir, who is pioneer of LegalViz company, and talking about Srijay sir. So basically he has been a business consultant for almost 30 to 14 years, right? And he has completed his MBA in corporate finance and strategy, and he has also closely 13 to 14 years of experience working with high-tech ventures and rising companies. Also, he has been into the domain of legal tech since last a decade or more than that, and he has worked in the global leader in the same segment, LegalZoom, for almost 5 to 6 years. And since 2016, he has been the soul of the company LegalViz, which is now rising like anything in the India. So, welcome, sir, on the Eduvent's Vocal for Local.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so I would like you to introduce LegalViz and tell our viewers what is LegalViz all about.
Sure. So to start with, LegalViz is essentially an effort to create a platform for people wherein small businesses and startups find it very easy and convenient to consume a day-to-day law. Whether it is registering a company, it is registering or procuring their trademark or any other IP, getting legal documents drafted, keeping their businesses compliant, right? All these sort of services we provide as a one umbrella, and it gets offered over our web portal, which is legalviz.in. The idea is very simple. The idea is really to make sure that when there is a challenge with simplicity, affordability, and transparency in this domain, we want to take it out of it, and we want to make sure that every small business has at least an access to standard set of services as it relates to business professional services, where they can get these services at an affordable rate, but at the same time the quality and the delivery is not compromised. So in that sense, we want to enable small businesses and MSMEs and don't really get them overwhelmed with the challenges of day-to-day legal consumption. We want to make it as simple as possible for them, so people don't really get intimidated by how to keep their businesses compliant. They rather focus on activities which make more sense for them. For example, growing their business or building good products for the country and so on and so forth. So that's what we
right. So in a nutshell, I guess LegalViz provides all kind of services, starting from business registration to all kind of IP registration, the financial assistance, consultancy from CAs or CSs, and all sorts of compliances, and how to make it at one place, and how to do that easily and using the online platform.
That would be a good statement to make.
Okay, that is great idea. Okay, so my next question is, how did you come up with this idea?
So very genuinely, it is not a rocket science. It is not something that I have invented, and a lot of that credit that I give to LegalZoom, where I worked for many years and shaped my career in a way. The challenges in the US when I worked with them was very different. Primarily, it were around how costly it was to access the legal system over there, and they really tried very hard to democratize the law and became phenomenal success in the Western market. When I moved back to India in 2013 and I started my consulting business, it almost felt like there were also similar challenges in Indian markets, even though we could access legal services for cheaper. As I said, the whole idea of transparency, affordability, and simplicity in consuming the services was not really available. Also, as you said, the market was very fragmented at that time and even today, right? So you would find a lot of professionals doing or providing certain services, but you need to be you need to be in the know for identifying which kind of service you can procure where, and it will come with the best sort of pricing and quality and delivery of service and everything. So it definitely felt a need of creating something wherein there isn't easy access to such services. A lot of times what I got as a conversation in my early days is people did not really think that dealing with law is the most easy thing to do, right? And believe me in that sense that if you comply with the law on a day-to-day basis, or if you have somebody who really understands what is required for your business, it is actually the easiest thing to do, right? The complexities only come in play when things get very complex, or they get they get much bigger and blown out of proportion, or there are non-compliances and you face consequences of that. So primarily what we wanted to build, and it was an inspired idea for sure, but what we wanted to build is really something which makes it easy for people on a day-to-day basis, and you don't really have to be too much worried about about how do you keep up with the legal requirements. It just becomes very natural for you to engage with somebody like LegalViz, and there are also some other good companies in India which are doing the same flavors and genres. But it just makes it very easy for people to the real sense of ease of doing business which the government is promoting. It really starts here and with the companies like LegalViz and LegalViz itself for sure, and that I can vouch for. So that's what the idea was.
And also, what I loved most about LegalViz was your target audience, target segment, because most of the time what happens, people target huge companies, and that is the reason why MSMEs usually face this kind of issues on a daily basis.
Absolutely. And that is a challenge that we want to mitigate, right? So if you are a big business, if you are a big business house, you will have many people who would be interested, and their interest would be aligned to service you the best. But if you are a small business and your pocket size is smaller, you would not find a lot of people who would stand by you when it comes to providing professional services. And so that's really a gap in the market which we want to kind of fill in, right? And if you truly kind of go by the numbers, this country primarily is the country of entrepreneurs. And when we speak about states like Gujarat, right, where the sense of entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurial drive is so prominent, you are going to have MSMEs leading the way and at the forefront of the growth hack for the country, rather than just the bigger organizations participating in it. So having your interest aligned with the MSMEs and startups is definitely a way for the future, and even today for that matter. And I'm glad that the government is also incentivizing and creating policies which are a lot more around kind of making a good environment for startups and small businesses to bloom. So I think we are aligned on that, and that's a good part of it.
Yes. So the next question is, as you are also running multiple ventures at the same time apart from LegalViz also. So what do you, and also you have had a huge experience beforehand before starting your own company. So what do you suggest to the aspiring entrepreneurs? Should they get an experience beforehand and then start a venture, or they should jump into something directly?
So getting an experience, I definitely do feel it is very important. And again, don't quote me on that, because there has been a number of cases where people right out of the college have done brilliantly well in entrepreneurship. So all credit goes to them. But I think getting an experience with somebody makes you a little more mature as a professional, and so you don't tend to make a lot of obvious mistakes that you would otherwise make, right? So that's why I really think that at least getting some sort of experience, may it be an internship experience during your college days, is also as vital as anything else, right? So that's definitely there. Running multiple ventures, I'm definitely even though I have another venture called Hire for Hire Consulting, which I run at a much smaller scale, and that's something that's been with me ever since I got back to India in 2013. I highly encourage people to be laser focused, and if you would also kind of see my time allocation, I'm also almost full time on LegalViz, wherein Hire for Hire is like an auto mode sort of a thing. So when it comes to startup entrepreneurship, I definitely believe that you have to put in your heart, soul, blood, and resources, everything that you got, and make it worthwhile, right? So I think multiple ventures, if you are, unless you belong to a bigger group of family businesses or whatnot, I think if you are a true startup entrepreneur or first generation entrepreneur, it is always worthwhile to make sure that you give in 100% of your time, money, energy, and everything to make that idea. If it is a secondary gig for you, it is definitely not meant for success.
Right.
So I mean, very honest, as much as I might be a little away from that, I would definitely encourage everybody to follow the passion to the core.
To the core. Nicely said. Okay, so the next question is, sir, how to basically select the initial core team members for your company or a startup?
Core team is what defines your company, right? And early employees, as they say, the first 10, first 15, first 20, more than likely they're also going to set the culture for the company. And so not just from the skill set standpoint, but also when you say that you want to build certain type of company which stands true to its culture, its core values, it is very important to make sure that you have people who ethically, morally, personality-wise fit into your culture. If that is not happening with the early employees, they will not carry forward that culture, and you would end up with a company which you don't like coming to for work every day, right? And that would be a big mess up. So I think keeping up with that is very important, and making sure that you have the right set of people who can convert your vision into reality, who believe in what you do, and they associate their success with your success is very, very important. Having said that, obviously, getting right set of skill set is also as important. So nothing works without skill set. So I think a combination of skill set, intent, and personality is what it requires to become a startup employee. And startup employees are not general employees, right? Because they need a different sort of motivation as compared to somebody who goes and works with a bigger firm where it could also be largely about the paycheck that they get. Startup also has a lot of other different aspects that they want to bring in, maybe work satisfaction, maybe equity parting in terms of ESOPs, maybe aligning your career with the growth of a small company, getting them big, maybe taking challenges, maybe rolling up the sleeves and get the muddy work done. It does not happen in bigger companies so often, right? In startup environment, you almost tend to do almost everything and anything that comes your way. So it also grooms you as a person, as a professional. So conveying that is very important, right? And when you are hiring for a startup, right, putting forward all these cases and making sure that somebody who is willing to join your company is willing to join for those reasons is very important. Also, having said that, sometimes also you have to make sure or figure out whether you need a good co-founder or not, right? And so I'm just kind of generally trying to cover this employee aspect also, with co-founder and whoever contributes to the success. Co-founders are also very important because a lot of times what happens is you come in with a very specific or sometimes narrow vision, right? And when you have somebody who is level-headed and who you can bounce off the ideas with, it just expands your overall vision and where you want to trend as a company. Also, at times, you might not have all the skill set that is required to run a company. And startups with limited budgets, they also have limitations around hiring people who are massively experienced, right? And that is why having people who are at a co-founder level, who probably come in with parting and equity, but definitely makes it a comprehensive deal for your business is very important. So I think it is always a mix of good employees who align on skill set and personality, right? A good co-founder in place wherein he or she would be able to expand your vision, right? What you lack at, they would be able to fulfill and comprehend. All those aspects become very, very important in the startup stage.
Right. So now a quick question. What 3 questions would you have asked if you were to start your own startup? To the employees, to hire the employees.
To hire the employees, I think the first question is whether you believe that this can be the next big thing in the market, right? If your startup employee is not believing in the idea, nothing really becomes significant after that point,
exactly.
Right? So if you truly don't believe or you are not passionate to convert this idea into a meaningful business, and if you really believe that it can happen, right, then only it is going to happen. Anything that is half-hearted, you would probably not want to do it. If it is a significant profile, I definitely would want to see how much of a product understanding a person can get, right? So a lot of times what happens is I have this idea or I have this discussion with my marketing team all the time is if you are only a good marketeer, if you are only good at crafting, let's say, digital campaigns, you might not be good enough, right? But if you understand the product to the core, then everything else just becomes very easy. Because crafting a campaign is a skill set question, but having an understanding of the product is really going to amplify and it will let your abilities come in play in a much bigger way and fashion. So if somebody who is not a products guy, somebody who is not willing to understand or willing to expand their scope to really understand the core of the business, that is definitely not an early stage startup employee.
Yes.
Right. So that would be the second thing, I think. And the third thing, obviously, what I would always ask anybody is, or I would ask myself before hiring anybody, is whether he or she is the person who I would want to spend time with. Right. So if my early stage employees are not the employees where I would want to grab a cup of coffee or a mug of beer after hours, that's probably not the employee that will fit into the culture. Because if you have personality disconnects at the very initial stages, it will always lead to some sort of conflicting matters, right? And startup life is so rigorous that it kind of almost
it was around your startup mode.
It absolutely burns you out from within. It is a lot of fun, so don't get me wrong on that, but it burns you out, right? As a person, you tend to slog, you tend to inherit a little bit of performance pressure and a lot of different things. So if it is not fun to be around with people, they are probably not worthy of that, right?
Right.
And it might be the case that you are not a personality, that is very comfortable to work with. But understanding that you are always going to be here, at least people who join, they should be aligned with your way of living, right? And if that happens, then I think we will create a brilliant culture in the company wherein people really look forward to come to work every day and put their heart and soul in what we want to achieve. So I think those would be the three things.
Right. Amazing. So a lot of the viewers would get the clear idea of what three questions they should.
That is my perception of it, and I'm sure
we almost covered most of the important things that we often miss out on. Like even we have done the same sort of mistakes before hiring people to look at this very basic aspects. Yeah. Okay, so the next question is we the young generation, the rising entrepreneurs mostly run after the venture capitalists and basically to raise their funds in the initial time, and mostly they don't believe in the bootstrapping model that much. So what is your take on that?
Both are good in their own ways, right? So I have no reservations for one over the other. It really depends on how do you want to do it, right? Sometimes parting equity means parting control, but at the same time, what you get is you get a lot of hyper growth with that, right? And so it really depends on what is your fundamental objective, right? And can you justify parting that equity or parting that control on your business, which might compromise your vision a little bit, but at the same time get enough growth capital that you can actually achieve, chase and fulfill your dreams in a shorter period of time. So if that's the case, definitely go for a venture capital. Again, I would like to highlight getting a VC fund in is not success, which is misunderstood as success by a lot of people.
Exactly.
It is a milestone, right? It is a means to success. And so what you would want to do is you want to use that as a resource to achieve the bigger picture, right? But you don't make that a bigger picture, right? Raising funds is not a success in its own. It's a micro success. It is a milestone achieved, right? But what you want to do is you want to get that funding so you can get to a bigger place. Right? So that is what it is. Unlike a lot of other startup entrepreneurs who would feel that if you raised a certain amount of money, that tags you as a successful entrepreneur. It is not.
It is not.
You have seen plenty of startups failing after raising millions of dollars, right? And you've also seen so many startups succeeding in a bootstrap phase. So it really depends on what is the goal that you are trying to achieve over here. And I think you treat that as a milestone, as I said, more than a victory point.
Victory point, exactly. A point well clarified. Okay, so the next question is, where do you see LegalViz in upcoming 10 years?
To be very honest, the only thing that we write on our website as our vision is you want to become the most trusted brand in the professional services industry, right? The aspiration is not definitely to become the biggest or greatest brand, right? If we create enough amount of trust, we will be big, and we will be at the place where we wouldn't be ignored, right? So the whole idea is to keep doing what we do, which is build enormous amount of trust based on the service standards that we follow, based on the net promoter scores that we receive, based on the client satisfaction that we get, based on the lifetime value that we are able to achieve out of a customer. It will all lead to profitability, and it is already leading to profitability, right? But the goal is really to become a meaningful service provider and a trusted brand over cutting corners and being in the game of making money in a very short period of time. I think if we become a trusted brand, the success is almost inevitable.
Inevitable. That's very true, and I completely agree with that. So the next question is, what was the biggest achievement in the entire journey?
I don't really think there has been any big achievements. There are also, the journey has been full with a lot of small achievements and also failures, right? There are certain things where we have failed at, there are certain things where we have overachieved. I think one thing that I really and truly feel myself to be proud about of assembling a great team, which has almost kept, which has kept and maintained the people first culture at the company, right?
Exactly.
And when I say people first, it is not just a customer first, right? A lot of companies are customer centric and customer first, and they focus on serving the customer in whatever possible way that is going to keep the customer happy at whatever cost. We don't really guarantee that. We want to become a people first position, right? And what it means is every stakeholder in the company, may it be a founder, an investor, an employee, a customer, we want to keep a very healthy balance of everybody's interest and the interest being aligned. So I think that is something that I really find myself lucky to be in a place where we could find people who really they go by these values and they make sure that the culture prevails in the company and it fosters in the company, and we can grow with that sense of being a people first company. So I think overall throughout the journey, I think that is one thing that I really feel accomplished with.
Right. And what is one thing about the overall business which is very complicated or which can be tedious as a work?
Everything is fun. I don't really find anything.
Yes, you are dealing with so many legalities and legal aspects. So usually people find that tedious at points. So is that anything that you feel that is a bit?
It is not. It is bread and butter. If I don't enjoy that, then I'm better not staying in that business, right? So if I don't find myself to be enjoying what I do, I better find out another profession.
Right.
But I think so far it has been pretty good. I don't really feel any overwhelmed with that. I think I love what I do, and
wow.
I'll continue what I'm doing, at least for the foreseeable future.
Okay, and the last question is, what is that one piece of advice that you would like to give to the aspiring young entrepreneurs?
I think that, and more than advice, I can always share my experiences and whatever I have learned, I can just put a reflection on it. For an advice, I think I'm not too big of a profile to advise anybody. Everybody takes their own decision. But I think one thing for people who are aspiring entrepreneurs, I would always say that don't get into a startup journey if it is a fashion statement for you. A lot of young kids I see day in, day out who would want to own a startup because they want to own a startup. The journey is much more complicated than that, and it requires a lot of commitment. It requires a lot of financial commitment, time commitment. It can be a life-changing event for you in a good or a bad way. And so when you opt for a startup journey, think of the situations, the surroundings around you, what are the other commitments that you have, how quickly will you get burnt out, how much of a longevity you have in the play. Be reasonable and rational in it. I think that is what my 2 cents would be. I would hate anybody to come to LegalViz and say I want to register a company for the heck of it. Right? I would probably want to ignore that money as sales and not ruin somebody's life rather than saying that yes, register a company today, because it is not a company. It is it's a dream that you are going to chase, and it will take a lot of efforts to make the dream come true. So if you are not up for that game, then I would probably say not get into it.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, and that's very appropriate too, because even being an entrepreneur, we can feel all the statements that you mentioned. That's the basic thing that you gotta do as an entrepreneur in your journey, right? Okay, so it was a great session with Sridhar sir, and I hope you have also took your takeaways from the overall chat. And we are also mentioning his all the accounts of LegalViz and his own account also in the description. Go check it out. And if you have your startup and wanting to get registered or any legal aspect that you want assistance with, go check out and follow. Just check out the website of LegalViz. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.